For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Honest. In Gaza, Israel 4 million Palestinians displaced in the southern city of Rafah to humanitarian islands in central Gaza ahead of a planned Israeli offensive into the south. Israel's chief military spokesman said the humanitarian islands would have temporary housing, food, water, and other necessities. He did not say when the evacuation would occur or when the Rafah offensive may begin. Humanitarian groups fear an offensive into an area densely crowded with so many displaced people would be a catastrophe. The European Union's parliament passed a resolution Wednesday denouncing what it calls the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza, including the risk of imminent starvation. The union is calling on Israel to open all crossings to Gaza for humanitarian aid and to urge an end to attacks on civilians seeking aid. This comes as the death toll from an Israeli strike on a UN facility in Gaza is now 5, including a UN aid worker with UNRWA. Nearly 24 were injured in the strike. Here's United Nations spokesperson Stefan Dujarric.
Every day, UNRWA shares the coordinates of all its facilities across the Gaza Strip with parties to the conflict. The Israeli army received the coordinates, including of this facility, yesterday. Since the war began 5 months ago, UNRWA has recorded an unprecedented number of violations against its staff facilities that surpass any other conflict around the world. And as a reminder, 165 of our UNRWA colleagues have died in Gaza since October 7th.
Hundreds of activists converged at the San Francisco International Airport demanding a ceasefire in Gaza Wednesday and for the U.S. to stop arming and funding Israel. Activists reportedly blocked access to the security checkpoints for the international flights, and vehicles blocked traffic to the airport. This activist spoke in a video sent to Pacifica Radio by organizers.
My tax dollars and our political leaders are enabling Israel to commit a genocide in Gaza. We have to have a ceasefire now, and our political leaders have to call for it. My mom escaped from the Holocaust. She taught me never again means never again for anyone. So I'm here to say we have to have a ceasefire now.
No word of arrests. A proposal to install new leadership in Haiti appears to be crumbling as some political parties rejected the plan to create a presidential council to manage a transition. The panel's backed by the U.S. and a coalition of Caribbean nations and would be responsible for selecting an interim prime minister and a council to chart the island nation forward. Some high-profile Haitian politicians have declined to participate in the council, and gangs have warned against outsiders installing leadership. Russian officials say Ukraine has fired at least 8 missiles at the Belgorod border region, killing 2 people and wounding 12 on the eve of Russia's presidential elections. Meanwhile, NATO head Jens Stoltenberg iterated the Western alliance's support for Ukraine.
The Ukrainians are not running out of courage. They are running out of ammunition.
This comes days after Russia's President Vladimir Putin warned Russia's ready to use nuclear weapons if its sovereignty or independence is threatened, in an interview with Russian state TV released Wednesday. The judge overseeing the Georgia 2020 election interference case against Donald Trump and several co-defendants dismissed 6 of the 41 charges, including 3 felony charges against the former president, Trump, his attorney, and former New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani. Former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows challenged the indictments. They've pled not guilty. Of the 19 people indicted, 4 have pled guilty after reaching deals with prosecutors, including Trump allies and attorneys Sidney Powell and Kenneth Chesbrough. Catherine Carley reports.
So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Former President Donald Trump's call to Georgia's Secretary of State, pressuring him to find votes in 2020, helped lay the groundwork for a sprawling election interference case. Yesterday, the judge dismissed some of the charges against him, including whether he asked officials to violate their oaths of office. The charges could be narrowed and filed again, and Trump still faces 10 other counts there. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
The House of Representatives passed a bill that would lead to a nationwide ban of the video app app TikTok if its Chinese-based owner doesn't sell its stake. The bill passed on a vote of 352 to 65. It now goes to the Senate, where its prospects are unclear. TikTok has more than 170 million American users and is a wholly owned subsidiary of Chinese technology firm ByteDance. Government intelligence agencies have warned TikTok poses a national security threat. Critics say it's a First Amendment rights issue. If passed by the Senate, the president has vowed to sign it. Spain's parliament is set to approve a controversial amnesty bill for Catalonian separatists charged with crimes for holding an independence referendum 6 years ago. It was part of a deal to form the left-leaning socialist ruling coalition in Spain. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.